Welcome to Fantasy Football Free For All, Week 1 Injury Report. We're going to run through all of the notable injuries for Week 1 and talk about some other options that you have if you need to fill in for some of these players. So the first one is Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel has a foot injury, a Lisfranc. It's one of those things that's coming along and he's making progress, and there's a real shot that he could play this week. But he's not somebody I'm wanting to have in my lineup. Not even at a deep flex. The reason being is he could have Patrick Peterson on him. He's going to be the second target, if not lower. You've got Raheem Mostert, you've got George Kittle. Those are going to be your primary targets for Jimmy Garoppolo. What we're going to have is you're going to get some limited snaps out of Deebo Samuels, but we don't know what the quality is. If you have any other options in Week 1, take them. The same is said for Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk has a hamstring injury that cropped up during camp. This is one of those injuries that slows down the explosiveness. Brandon Aiyuk is a rookie wide receiver, and even though he's a rookie wide receiver, he has upside, just not this week. Keep him on your bench, look elsewhere. Solid other available wide receivers that are kind of in deeper leagues: Paris Campbell, Laviska Shenault, and Preston Williams. I would rather have those three guys over both Deebo Samuels and Brandon Aiyuk this week. The next one, David Montgomery. David Montgomery has a groin injury that cropped up 2 weeks ago. Both Patterson and Tariq Cohen stated to the media that this was overblown. That's okay, but the issue is that these groin injuries have a tendency to linger. I want at least 1 week from David Montgomery before I'm putting him in my lineup. He will see lots of touches, and it's not like the Lions are overly good, but the risk of him re-aggravating this injury is just too high for me to roll him out this week. I would rather have pretty much any starting running back over David Montgomery this week, particularly if I have, a second string like Mark Ingram or even Robinson over in Jacksonville. Let David Montgomery sit for this week. All right. The really sad one here is Kenny Golladay. Kenny Golladay is really, really hurting with this hamstring injury. He went down in practice. It looks bad. He is doubtful for Week 1. Doubtful in this league means he's not playing. It will see an increase for Marvin Jones, but we don't know what other ramifications it will have for this Lions offense. TJ Hawkinson could see an increase, so could Kerryon Johnson, but that running back situation mixed with losing your wide receiver one, man, this is going to be a rough game. This is a game that I am looking at to be the under, and I think the Bears are going to squeak this one out. All right, Mike Williams had an injury 2 weeks ago that we all saw on Hard Knocks. He's not a player that most people are relying on week to week. If he's drafted, keep him on your bench. This is an injury on the tip of his shoulder that is going to be aggravated if he goes and lays out for the ball. Mike Williams is a big receiver, and he plays really physically. Don't get caught trying to roll him out. Go with Hunter Henry or Keenan Allen or Austin Eckler as your receiving options for this week. Miles Sanders. Now, Miles Sanders creeped up into the injury report, and, he has been struggling with this injury. It's one of those things that we're not sure how it's going to impact him. It could, really reduce his ability to have that explosiveness. It's a hamstring injury. I don't know quite how it's going to go. Being this is Week 1, and he was a first-round pick, you've got to roll him out, but have limited expectations for Miles Sanders this week. Also, pick up Brian Scott. He is the number 2 backup behind Miles Sanders, and he's going to be the guy that gets the touches if Miles Sanders goes down. Now, if you're in a best ball league, make sure Brian Scott's on your bench, or hopefully you drafted him to be on your bench, because otherwise, if Miles Sanders has all these issues, it's going to be a long season. Another big concern, Mike Evans, hamstring injury. Mike Evans went out last year onto IR for the same injury on the same leg. This is a really big red flag. Bruce Arians said that they're going to run this down to the wire as to whether or not they play Mike Evans. Mike Evans is no one that I am going with. 0% should he be in your starting lineup. If you have any second string wide receivers, they should be ahead of him. Tyler Boyd would be a great option instead of Mike Evans. There are a couple guys behind him on the depth chart in Tampa Bay, but I have concerns about Tom Brady's arm. I'm staying away, unless it's Chris Godwin, from this Tampa Bay offense. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fantasy Football Free For All. We are looking at least 2 videos a week. The next video will be a recap of week 1 and some waiver stashes. Please join us.